Anyway, guys, today is going to be a little bit quicker. I'm sorry for the interruption. I just had to show you guys, what is actually happening a little bit behind scenes. I just want to tell you guys about the type of banks that can actually assist visitors or newcomers that arrives in, Canada. I don't know why I'm so used to saying South Africa. I almost said South Africa, but come on, man. I've been out of South Africa. It's almost 2 years now. Come on, man. If ever you arrive in Canada, or if ever you are planning to come to Canada, whether you are here or you are still planning to come, I'm sure that there are a couple of things that should be on your to-do list. And this, I mean, some of the stuff that are very much necessary, the things that you actually need for you to live in the country without any problems or hassle, which I believe bank account is also one of them. Having a bank account in Canada or anywhere in the world is actually a big benefit. It's actually something that everyone these days needs. When I go to Canada, I actually opened my bank account the same day that I arrived in Canada. Yeah, I know that is crazy, and I've actually heard a lot of people say they went to this particular bank, the bank says they cannot help them. They went to this bank, they said they cannot take visitors visa and all that. I understand I'm also on a visitor's visa. I'm not saying you went to the wrong bank or this or that, but I'm just going to tell you how to go about it and the things that you should look out for whenever you want to open a bank account. So, firstly, the bank that actually allows or permits visitors or newcomers whenever they arrive in the country to open their banks is BMO, which is Bank of Montreal. Bank of Montreal does allow visitors. So if ever you arrive in Canada, brand new newcomer with your visitor stamp on it, you can open Bank of Montreal. So Bank of Montreal is the first bank that I actually opened when I got into Canada. Normally they deal with appointment basis, like a week in advance. With my experience, when I arrived, we actually went for a shopping. So we saw Bank of Montreal and I'm like, let me just give it a try and see what happens. And I think it was roughly around 3:30 to 4. So I walked in without any appointment and the lady was like, oh, I'm lucky they're about to close, but she can actually use me as the last customer and finish up for the day. So it wasn't a problem. I didn't book anything. I was just lucky. So when I got it, they asked me what type of documents that I'm using, and I explained that, okay, I'm on a visitor/business permit B1, which is almost the same as the visitors. With Bank of Montreal, they do accept visitors visa, but I'm not going to say all the branches because I've also heard friends say that they went to Bank of Montreal and they were denied because they are actually on a visitor's visa. So, I mean, there are a lot of branches around Canada. There are a lot of branches, Toronto, Alberta, New Brunswick, they have, Bank of Montreal everywhere. So if you try a certain place and they say no to your visa, that doesn't mean all the banks will say no to you. Just try other places as well, and I believe you should be fine. So normally what they need is your passport, proof of address. Yeah, I don't know what there's a name for it. Is it proof of residence? Yeah, proof of residence. So it's a passport and a proof of residence. If you get those two, you should be fine. They don't need you to come with a physical statement that got your residency on it. You can either use a friend, a family member that is in Canada. So you go to the bank, they take your passport, they put in all the details, they ask you a couple of questions and all that. Then they ask you, what address are you staying at? So you can use a friend of yours, but it should be within the surroundings. You can't do the bank in Toronto and you're giving an address for Alberta. So the address that you are giving must be within. So if you give the address, you're going to punch it on and then, you should be good to go. There is an advantage to that because once they punch and use that address for the bank account, technically you get a statement that got your address on. So that address will be attached to your name. So next time if you want to do something else and they ask for proof of residence, you can actually use that statement to apply for something else. So Bank of Montreal does allow visitors visa. And another bank that I actually opened, right now I have two banks. I actually needed 3 of them, even though it's zero balance. But why not? I currently have 2 banks, so it's Bank of Montreal and Royal Bank of Canada. So Royal Bank of Canada actually opened that account I think it was 2-3 weeks when I got into Canada. So with that, it's actually on appointment basis. So when I walked in, they were like, no, they can assist me. I need to book it online, and which is fine. I mean, it's the rules of opening bank accounts in Canada. You need to always book an appointment. So I later on came in after the appointment. They gave me dates and everything. Then I went on the dates, and they started doing everything with the same passport with the visitors on it. They didn't ask me any questions. They were like, same procedure like the first one. What is your address and all that? You just need your passport, which got the stamp, the visitors, the visa on it, and also your proof of address. So with that, you should be fine. And I mean, you don't need a lot of banks like I'm currently doing. A single bank should be fine. I mean, why do you even need a lot of banks? You don't even have money. I'm actually on zero balance, and got 2 banks. Crazy, man. Royal Bank, Bank of Montreal does accept visitors visa. So I think there are other banks as well, but I did try CIBC, and they told me that they do not accept visitors. Yeah, that was the 3rd bank that I wanted to open. So with that, I also went in. I booked an appointment, and they were like, okay, come on this date. I went on that date, and everything was still ongoing. We sat down with the person while she's busy doing her thing. She's like, okay, just wait a minute. She went out. I think she spoke with her boss and whatever. She came back later. She's like, no, sorry, we cannot take your visa, your passport, because it's a visitor's visa. We need someone with a work student or sort of permanent residency. But she insisted on giving me an alternative option where she said if I know someone in Canada, the person can stand in and maybe just say, okay, I know this person, I'll vouch for him. The person will just agree to that, sign, and then they can open the bank account. Or they were actually asking if I had another sort of identity, like a birth certificate or something. I don't know, but the visitor's visa alone was not enough for CIBC. What does that stand for? Canada International Bank or what? I don't even know, man. Those guys with the Renault logo. I don't know why they go for those logos, man. The first time I saw that logo, I thought it was a car company. That logo looks like a car, man. Renault. Just know the type of banks that you should visit and the ones that you shouldn't visit, like CIBC. They do not allow visitors, but Bank of Montreal, Royal Bank, you should be good to go. And if you try one bank and they say no, that doesn't mean you can't try other ones. I mean, you can try other ones as well. It's not an official agreement, I think. It's not something official, but it's allowed. You can still open a bank account with your visitor's visa. As long as it's valid, why not? You should be fine. So this is my experience. This is what I did. And if you have any questions, why not drop it in the comment section. I should be willing to answer everything. I need to get back to that conflicts, man. I'll see you in the next one.